In exercise 7.19 word lengths, we're going to write a method called wordLengths, and it accepts a scanner representing an input file as its argument. Our method should read from the file, count the number of letters in each token. So this one would be like 6, this including this colon right here would be 8, and output a result diagram of how many words contains each number of letters. So we're going to basically tally these ups. Now, when we're tallying something like this, when we're counting, especially when we're counting a lot, it's good to use an array. So let's create an array. We're going to be an integer, we'll call it ARR, and we'll set it equal to a new int. Because of this last line right here, we're going to set the size to 81. Remember, indexes are always one less than length, so we're going to set it to 81 for our length. Now, what we're going to want to do is increment elements into our array. So this is basically the tally part. So for our tally part, we're going to have a while loop. And our while loop is essentially going to run through this entire scanner. Every single word, what it's going to do is it's going to take the length, and then once it has the length, it's going to put it at this index and increment that index. So while scan.hasNext, and that way we can keep track of our tally. Well, scan.hasNext, what we're going to want to do is ARR, so we're storing into array, and we'll have scan.next.length, and that should work. If it doesn't, we can always break that up into two things. And then we will have our ++ and end this line. And that should be our entire tally for the while loop area. Now let's work on our output. Inside of our output, we're basically just going to want to run through our entire array. So int a is equal to 0. A has to be less than our ARR.length. Then we have a ++. Now, we want to have an if statement, and this if statement is to check if there is something at this element, because if there's not, that means we didn't increment anything. We only want to output what we incremented, because that means there's something there. If not, it means there's nothing there. So ARR, this element, if it does not equal to 0, we're going to be inside of here. We're going to have a system.out.print, not print line, because we have to break this up into multiple lines. We want to print first our index. We have a colon, and then we're going to want to print the element at that index, and then we want to print our asterisks after a tab for spacing purposes. So that's good. Now let's work on our asterisks, which I might have spelled wrong, who knows. We have a for loop, int b is equal to 0. B has to be less than, not our array length, but the current element length, right? Because we only want to output as many here as we have here. That's just something to note. We have b++, and then we're simply just going to have a system.out.print where we are outputting our asterisks. If I can get it to write. We're going to end this, and then for spacing, because we have a space after every single thing, we'll have a system.out.print line, and that should be enough for our spacing. We can close this if statement and close this for loop. That should be it for our entire function. Let's press submit. And we've passed 3 out of 3 tests. So that is how use this code for this practice it problem.